So back with another controller, and this one is actually quite a recent one. Rather than a old classic controller from an old system, it's one that's not been out very long, but it came from Aliexpress, and when I saw it, I just had to have it. So what this is the OrionTime L24 gun controller, or gun controller mouse. I saw this and I just had to buy it. I paid about £29 for it. As you see, it is a vertical kind of gun style mouse. And rather than some of the others that just are mice that you move in each direction, this has a little unique feature, which I think is amazing. It only comes in two options. There's a sticker on here. It's to do with where the trigger is, and humorously on the back, on the shipping label, you may or may not be. I think you can see it there actually. It says big hands. And it's either the trigger's slightly closer to the handle or slightly further away. And I do have quite big hands, so I've got the one that's slightly further away. I have opened this up, but I thought I would just kind of show what's in the box. Comes with just a frequently asked questions and a link to the tutorial video. Inside is a polystyrene sheet with a little cutout for the top of the mouse. Inside is literally just the mouse. I think it came in a bag, but it's just got a polystyrene base. The only instructions of what I showed you just a second ago, and here it is. So that is the mouse. We'll do a quick kind of 360 on it. Has quite a long cable and it's nicely kind of braided. It's kind of loose on there. It yeah, feels all right. The quality's not too bad. The mouse itself is all plastic. You might have hoped for a kind of, metal base or something like that. But yeah, it feels fine. It's reasonably rigid. The unique feature of this is that the mouse does this. So that up and down movement tracks with the mouse movement. So you can slide it forwards and back and that registers mouse movement, and you can move left to right, but really it's all about shooting up and down. And so I really bought this for light gun type games, but you can use it for first person shooters as well, but really wanted that idea of kind of aiming and kind of shooting where you want it to. It's not going to be one for mega precision, but I figured I just had to try. I've never seen anything like it. On the bottom, so we've got the branding there, so OrionTime L24. It has these little wheels, and the wheels are sort of kind of horizontal but offset. So the idea, I think, is that it rolls left and right, and you use the up and down to aim. The mouse sensor is at the top there. The mouse itself is not that heavy. It has, as I say, it has that trigger. You probably hear the clicks, click, click. And then on this side, there's a scroll wheel there. So presumably that's the scroll wheel for the mouse, but there's a little rest just on top of it where you can put your thumb. And then there are three buttons on the left hand side. It could be used left or right handed, but I think it's kind of designed more for a right-handed person. The one other feature you've got is underneath there is you maybe can't see that with the light because it's all black. There's a little screw there, and it enables you to shift the position of the kind of gun bit of the mouse forwards and backs. So when you can either come this way or that way, and it just adjusts that angle. So it's about finding something that's kind of comfortable for you. What we'll do is we'll get this plugged in, and we will fire some games up, and I will show you what it's like to play with. Okay, so we've got our first game here. So this is Virtua Cop, running in the Model 2 emulator. So I've got some credits in. Let's hit go. So we've got the OrionTime L24 set up. We can see the cursor there. And what I tend to do is sort of set it at the bottom and then lift up, so we kind of start at the middle of the screen, so we can kind of up and down throughout the screen with the movement of the mouse. So one thing, so firstly, like I really like, the accuracy is absolutely fine. Like it's you know, you've got quite a lot of precision up and down. Oh, need to reload. But it is a little bit trickier than using a mouse, like especially for like coming from being obviously a mouse user of many decades. So it takes a bit of adjusting, but I think the kind of immersion of the gun with the movement up and down is a significant improvement from using a mouse. Pushing forwards and back just makes no sense with regard to aiming. So yeah, so we got that guy up there, one of the smaller targets, really quite easily. You can play with the sensitivity, I guess. At the moment it's reasonably sensitive, but it means I can kind of cover the whole screen quite easily. And this, yeah, Birch Cop, absolute classic. You know, when I think light gun games, although there were kind of plenty in the kind of sprite-based era, you know, really what I think about is the 3D games like this. And Sega really led the space. So yeah, what we'll do is we'll play through just this beginner stage. But you see, we're yet to take a hit, although that's obviously famous last words. But yeah, more than accurate enough. The thing with using a mouse on some of these games, yeah, bugger. Yeah, the thing with using mouse actually becomes just quite tedious because it's just like click on the screen, like you may as well be using Excel. And yeah, I really feel like this mouse adds something to the experience. It's yeah, it's good. I like it. The other thing I kind of find helpful, so rather than like resting my hand fully on the mouse and kind of pushing down, just to lift up just a little bit, almost lifting the mouse off of the surface, because I didn't want to kill the civilian. Because yeah, the designers have been quite smart and put the mouse sensor right at the front of the mouse. So if you do lift it up, which means it kind of tends to lift from the back rather than the front, it means the sensor's still on the surface. So even if we're lifting that mouse off, which means we can take quite a light grip, which is obviously much more realistic in terms of holding a gun, where you would be holding it in the air rather than resting it on a surface. But yeah, this Model 2 emulator runs really nicely. Get the shotgun. That's nice. And yeah, reload in this is the right mouse button, which is one of the buttons on the left-hand side. So yeah, reload's quite easy because in the arcade you would have needed to shoot off screen, and shooting off screen basically means clicking out of the window, which tends to exit the program and minimize the game. So yeah, sensible to have a button for reload. Oh, what? Oh, we lost 2 lives because of that. Rubbish. Okay, so we're here at the boss now. We'll wrap this up and then we'll move on to something else. Nice. Yeah, don't trust that guy. So yeah, that's the first stage of Virtua Cop in the arcade done. You can see we're pretty accurate. We certainly cleared it on a single credit. So now I think we'll move on to something else. Okay, so now I've got a first-person shooter and I've loaded up Half-Life 2. So for FPS games, like the like aiming works really nicely. Like you feel like you've got good loading. A good is that the fire? Yeah, a good level of precision. There is like a massive issue with playing FPS games though, and that's an issue that doesn't occur in light gun games. In light gun games, you just need to move up, down, left, right. We just cover the screen with the kind of mouse aiming. The issue with an FPS game is that where we can turn left. Oh. We can turn left, we can turn left again, we can keep turning left, and the mouse is now really difficult to kind of reset back to the straight position. Because when we lift it, the bottom doesn't just lift, it angles. So if we want to rotate and then reset, we kind of almost have to let go, and when you're not holding it, it doesn't react, and there's the sensor just on the side, which is quite clever. But if you're rotating multiple times in the same direction, you just get stuck, and the mouse gets like, oh, I'm too far, and you might even go, oh, I'm just going to turn all the way around to get it back into position. So although like the aiming is nice and like the accuracy, I just like a mouse really, but having that gun control is nice, and it feels precise for aiming and shooting. For the general moving around in a 3D world, getting peppered. Saw this guy out. Get through here. Not got much health. Put the flashlight on. Yeah, so for generally kind of aiming and shooting, it works absolutely fine. But for navigating a 3D environment, it's just too clunky. I wouldn't choose to play this kind of game with this mouse. I would just use a regular mouse. The other thing is that with these kinds of games, you tend to do a lot of left and right movement. A lot of left and right movement, not so much up and down. And where this mouse kind of excels is on the up and down. So actually this section we just happen to be doing this. It works great. You know, we've got a kind of fixed position. Come on, give me the gun back. Oh, I got shot. It got broke. Yeah. So if there's a game where you're shooting from a fixed position, it works great. If you're having to move, it just doesn't work. Which is a shame, because yeah, I really like the mouse. I like playing with it. But we'll call it a day there. But for FPS games where there's a lot of navigation, it just doesn't work. So yeah, so that's the OrionTime L24. A pretty curious product, a really interesting mouse. Great for light gun games, highly recommended from my perspective. This kind of vertical movement to give the up and down movement, coupled with the left and right, totally works. The issue comes with the fact that it's very difficult to kind of lift that mouse, move it, and then set it down again. And it just doesn't feel like intuitive. I find quite often my hand is getting stuck in kind of on the edge of my mouse mat, or you know, having to kind of reset it but in a really clunky way, and then when you lift it up, well, the bottom moves and then you look up or down, and yeah, the whole thing just doesn't work. So that's a real shame. But for anything where you're from a fixed position, it's really excellent. Really like it. In terms of kind of feedback, like how could that product be improved? Force feedback would be amazing. So if you could couple the pulling of that trigger with you know, with the mouse vibrating or properly recoiling, that would give an even kind of deeper sensation of firing a gun. So that would be great. If anyone has any ideas of kind of what could be played with this mouse, do you think it might work for? Do let me know. I say I'm probably going to just play through a lot more light gun games, either kind of emulated arcade games or maybe home console games too, played with it. I'll probably record some, probably particularly the big Sega arcade games. I think those would be good. So yeah, I've enjoyed the OrionTime L24. Was it a wasted purchase? Definitely not. Would I recommend others to get it? Yes, if you're into light gun games. So yeah, with that I'll wrap up. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was an interesting one. See you soon. Bye.